Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us at Space Cowboy Books Online for another evening of Flash Science Fiction. This night we have three wonderful readers, Avra Margariti joining us from Greece, Mary Soon Lee, and Charlie Jane Anders. We're going to open up the show with a story from Avra. Avra is a queer author, Greek sea monster, and Riesling-nominated poet with a fondness for dark and the darling. You can find Avra on Twitter at avramargariti.com. I'm going to hand it over to them to read their story, which first appeared in Daily Science Fiction.
Thank you so much. So I'm going to start. My story is called Anangi. In these forms, our minds are bird nests of broken, tangled thoughts. Leaves and twigs and mud, run and jump and survive. We can't fly, but we use the wind to our advantage, arms spread, membranes catching drifts as we hop from tree to lichen-covered tree, always above ground. Something is coming for our kind and for everyone else. We beg the trees to rustle a warning to our caves, and we dust through the tree cover to avoid predators and trick time. But somehow we know, us and the trees, that it won't be enough. Too late. Too late. Right from the beginning, we could see the jungle for what it is and for what it will become. We saw the dusty stone trodden by triceratopses, and we see the serrated edges of tools that will be fashioned out of that same stone. Our vision is a circular, looping stream, but now it's just red, ablaze. There was always a ravenous black hole in the back of our heads, an amorphous blob that we were too afraid to probe and find out what it was made of. We couldn't even draw it with red pigment on the cave walls like we did with every other thing that frightened us. And now we know. The black hole cleared like mist after a rain and revealed to us that it was red all along. We were foraging for food when it happened, looking for berries, herbs, and fruits to bring back to the caves or share with the primates, those future marvels of evolution we could see with our hidden vision. The moment we burst through the cave's mouth, we are aware of two things. We are, of course, too late, and she knew all along about the thing inside our visions, sinkholes. Grandma is wiser than Earth's soil, and older than the rest of us. We don't know when she appeared, only that she was always here in our cave, kneeling on an elevated mineral bed, serenely gazing into the distance with eyes like flecks of mica. Why, we cry, why does the end have to happen? Why watch everything we've come to love disappear in magma and flame? Grandma touches her hands to our faces and cradles our chins, but also our slippery fish scales and the air around our single-cell bodies. Everything we were and everything we will become, all at once. She too views events in a circle. Her vision of past, present, future, so much brighter than ours can never hope to be. Ours is not to know the will of the universe. Stars reflect in her eyes, ant tunnels of untarnished light writhe against her pupils. We only cry harder. Nonsense, utter nonsense. Perhaps, she intones, her smile turning melancholy as she wipes away our overflow of tears. Holding hands and tails and pseudopods, Grandma leads us up, up, up into the sky, far above the treetops and the Earth's atmosphere. We flap wings we might have had in different lives, insect or bird or both, and allow her vast strength to keep us afloat. We perch up on the sky in a lightless pocket of universe. But through Grandma's eyes, we can see everything down below in our green and blue planet, shrouded in morning white. When the first balls of fire hurtle through the cosmos, we scream and we cry, but her gentle, firm grip around us holds us in place. We are not to interfere. Our job is to watch, to witness. The blaze blooms, reflected in one another's eyes. The asteroids make no sound, but to us they are deafening as their fire is blinding. Everything gone, everything is mocking, and everything fertile, Grandma Necessity says, shining as if the entire universe is flowing through her being. She kisses us one by one, and one by one we fall down, down, down towards our planet, grey now with craters after the fire has gone out, taking everything with it. We don't fall like asteroids, but like infant stars. We are back to ground zero, single-cell organisms, elemental and sublime in our simplicity, with manifold eyes which have witnessed tragedy, but no mouths to speak the words. We remember though, we understand. We may be small now, but we have seen all that we can be and more. We lie in wait, cradle into loam, ready to build ourselves anew.
Thank you so much. That was Avra Margariti. Next up, we have Mary Soon Lee. Mary Soon Lee was born and raised in London, but now lives in Pittsburgh. Her latest book is The Sign of the Dragon, an epic fantasy told in poems, winner of the 2021 Elgin Award. She hides her online presence with a cryptically named website, marysoonlee.com. And she's going to be sharing a piece of flash with us tonight entitled Plant Life. Over to you, Mary.
Thank you very much. Plant life. The 3 hallway plants were gossiping when the lights suddenly went out. I can't see, shouted Chloe, the spider plant, programming a quiver into her sound synthesizer. I'm dying. Nonsense, said Maud, a stubby cactus who refused to disclose her age. It's only the lights. Master Jeremy will repair them when he gets up. Confirm. Photosynthesis negative here, said Marshall, the aspidistra. He had spent his youth in an army supply depot. It's dark. I hate the dark. Chloe had been a gift from Jeremy's girlfriend and was horribly pampered as a result. Most nights, Jeremy spent 10 minutes stroking Chloe's leaves to soothe her to sleep. This may be an enemy attack, said Marshall. We need to consolidate our defenses. Don't be silly, said Maud. Marshall's military pretensions irritated her almost as much as Chloe's wiles. The way Chloe added a hoarseness to her synthesizer when she wanted extra water or drooped her leaves to gain sympathy. It was enough to turn a good cactus bad. There's nothing we can do. We're rooted in our pots. Besides, no one wants to hurt us. I'm scared, shouted Chloe. Help! Master Jeremy, help! I doubt he can hear you, said Maud. He drank a lot last night. Pickled as a parrot in vinegar, said Marshall. It's too much. Chloe fluttered her back leaves against the wall. Master Jeremy was so grumpy when he came home. He didn't even dust my leaves. And now this. How can I bear it? I have a delicate constitution. Rubbish, said Maud. You're a spider plant, perfectly hardy, whereas I suffer terribly in this climate. No one knows how I suffer. It's my nerves, said Chloe. I may have the body of a spider plant, but my software has reactive rationalization codes. I'm very sensitive to change. Civilian in distress, said Marshall. Stay calm, Chloe. I'll mount a rescue mission. Maud snorted. Oh, whispered Chloe, her voice a shadow of its usual self. My leaves! There's something moving along my leaves. A metallic laugh sounded from Chloe's corner, but it wasn't Chloe. Reprisal Unit 8948, said a tinny voice. Caterpillar Division, I am here to eradicate one spider plant, Chlorophytum comosum. Tell Jeremy, I'll miss him, whispered Chloe. On my mark, said Marshall, all shout together. Mark, Master Jeremy, help! For a second, Marshall's voice made the air shake. his volume set well beyond the safety maximum. Then a darting pain shot through him. A missile had silenced his synthesizer. "Too late," said the tinny voice. "Mission accomplished. Targeting secondary objective." Voiceless, powerless, Marshall felt the caterpillar slither onto his leaves. His silicone stem snapped in two, a fatal wound. Before his senses failed, he heard a tinny, desperate gasp. Maud must have nailed the enemy with one of her needles. When Jeremy came down a few hours later, Marshall and Chloe's bodies were already withering. Tearful, Jeremy daubed gel onto a gash in Maud's side. "It's all my fault," he said. "If I hadn't argued with Imogen, she'd never have sent the caterpillar. I'm so sorry." "Please," said Maud, imitating one of Chloe's old quivers, "could I move to the living room for a few days, just until I feel better?" "Of course," said Jeremy, "for as long as you want." "Thank you," said Maud. Doubtless, Imogen would say she had nothing to do with the attack, but Jeremy wouldn't believe her, and the caterpillar wasn't talking. Maud had seen to that. She had always wanted to be a living room plant. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mary. That was Mary Soon Lee with Plant Life. Next up, we have Charlie Jane Anders. Charlie Jane Anders is the author of the Unstoppable trilogy. The first two books, Victory is Greater Than Death and Dreams Bigger Than Heartbreak, are out now. And the final book, Promises Stronger Than Darkness, comes out on April 11th of next year. He's also the author of the short story collection, Even Greater Mistakes, and Never Say You Can't Survive, a book about how to use creative writing to get through hard times. I'm going to hand it over to Charlie Jane for a piece of Flash entitled Just Imagine Stan Lee Creating John Updike's Rabbit Run.
Hi, thanks everybody for being here. So I should caution, I wrote this piece about 10 years ago. I don't know if some of the jokes are still going to land. Basically, as I explained on Twitter, back in the early 2000s, they did a thing where, because Stan Lee had helped to create so much of the Marvel universe, they had him come and pretend that he was the creator of the DC universe. And so it was just imagine Stan Lee creating Batman, just imagine Stan Lee creating Wonder Woman. So I was like, what if Stan Lee created Rabbit Run by John Updike, which is sort of a classic of 1950s white dude angst literature. So I'll just jump right in. Again, I apologize if some of the jokes don't land as well as they did 10 years ago, fingers crossed. This is the only thing I had that was the right length. Anyway, okay, great. Just imagine Stan Lee creating Rabbit Run, a tale for the ages that could only have been brought to you by Stan the Man Lee and jovial John Updike. You'd better be wearing retina condoms, reader, or this story will impregnate your eyeballs. Though the world may mock washed-up basketball star Harry Angstrom, soon it will marvel at the awesome might of the Rabbit. The sleepy little town of Brewer, Pennsylvania, shelters a mystery. Here, Harry Angstrom has struggled to make ends meet in his second-rate marriage and his Magappeal demonstrator job. He little suspects the shrouded secret that the mysterious Reverend Jack Eccles conceals behind the golf course. Until one day, destiny. The secret origin of the Rabbit. Searching for his place in the universe, Harry Angstrom climbs Mount Judge and is bombarded with mega neutrons. That's a real thing, which transform him into the Rabbit, the sensational character find of 1959. Soon, he leaps tall mountains and dodges his middle-class obligations. Face front, true believers. This is one axon-stripping masterpiece you won't soon forget. In this issue, a baby dies. Not a hoax, Not an imaginary story. This actually happens in the novel. It's terrible. Rabbit only wants to use his stupendous powers to beat the snot-headed neighbor kids at basketball and to make part-time sex worker Ruth do an unseemly Jeremy with him. But when Harry abandons his wife Janice for the third or fourth time, again, this is in the novel and I apologize, she drowns their baby. Nothing will ever be the same. Why has this happened? Harry demands. The double-jointed fire hydrants and stooped used car lots don't answer. Why? 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 What is life? Why do we suffer? How can a man have so much power and yet be unable to save his child? Harry finally learns a lesson that he will carry with him for the rest of his life. If you have the guts to be yourself, other people will pay your price. That's the lesson of the novel. What follows is pulse-pounding action in the mighty Updike manner. Hold on to your hat, readers. Harry discovers the Reverend Eccles is really the cloaked miscreant known as the Cowslip. He finds a cryptic note. When the Cowslip swallows the elder, everyone in Brewer will die. The rabbit must untangle this epistemological brain twister, but even he could never expect that the Cowslip will launch his devious plan during the funeral for Harry's baby, unmasked by the Cowslip. The Cowslip has built a giant eldritch spear of an institutional nihilism, I don't know, and he plans to drop it on the peaceful town of Brewer. Rabbit tries to confront the Cowslip only to be defeated and unmasked. Harry escapes the Reverend Eccles' death traps. He realizes that if he runs at 3 times the speed of sound, he can create a moral vacuum and drain off all of the energy from the Cowslip's lethal giant golf ball. Run, Rabbit, run! Ah, he runs, running, run, run! This is all from the novel, I apologize. There's a whole run sequence. Sweet panic, it works! The town is saved. Enough said. Next, coming up next, Rabbit Redux by Frank Miller. Sometimes a man has to kill a whole lot of people to get his goddamn family back. Rabbit teams up with Skeeter, a veteran with a raw, angry gun hand, and Jill, a knife-spitting stripper who will make you a fancy present of your own man parts. Together, they'll take on every stinking bent bastard in the law-forsaken town of Brewer, even if they have to burn it all down. It's blood for blood and by the gallon. Don't screw with this rabbit or he'll run you over. And I never got around to actually writing the Frank Miller version of Rabbit Run, but that was a taste. Anyway, that was very weird and I apologize.
Thank you so much. That was Charlie Jane Anders. Before that, we had Mary Soon Lee, and opening the show, Avra Margariti. Links to everyone's books in the chat. Thank you so much to our readers for this evening. Thank you to our audience. Our next Flash Science Fiction Night is coming up on September 13th. We're going to have Eric Fomley, Susan Rue-Kaiser right here in Joshua Tree, and Eric Farrell. And also, if you happen to be in Joshua Tree, coming up on September 18th, we're having a reading with Desert Split Open Mic for Banned Books Week. We're all going to be reading banned books. So let's fight the good fight. Thank you so much, everybody, and we hope to see you next time.